So your church has a new weekly sermon, right? Well, one of my favorite creative projects is to take those sermons and every week turn them into a blog post. These bolster your church's SEO presence, can get sent out as a newsletter during the week, assist as resources in pastoral care. They take the spiritual and creative work of your senior leader and multiply its impact. But we've started taking this even one step further, because what we've also begun doing is at the end of the year, taking all 52 of these essays from the previous 12 months and packaging them into these beautiful coffee table style books. Intentional layout, custom cover, hardback printing. Perhaps you've seen those designer coffee table books that are in many homes. Well, imagine replacing those with this powerful embodiment of your church's journey from the previous year, rich in biblical wisdom that is unique and personalized to your ministry. Amazingly, these cost just about $18 each to print, believe it or not. So in this video, I want to show you exactly how we do this, the specific print settings we use, and now that we've done these for dozens of churches, a few of the mistakes that you want to avoid. So obviously the first step in this process is to write the weekly blog post. Importantly, you do not want to repurpose the entire sermon, okay? Rarely will this work, and that's because the structure of a sermon is typically too broad to repurpose into a single succinct essay. So let me give you an example of this. Here is one of the books that we've made in the last year for Crosswinds Church. Title of the book is Following the Way. We start with the cover. What follows is the table of contents. You can see there are 52 individual chapters, one dedicated to each sermon. And you can see how this all adds up, more than 150 pages. So this thing is dense. Moving past the table of contents, we get into the interior pages. You can see the title, the date the sermon was preached, followed by the article with all of its formatting. Let's take a look at one of the chapters. This is on page 135. The title of this essay is Breaking the Cycle of Worry. This message was preached on June 6th, 2025, but Breaking the Cycle of Worry was not the title of the message. The sermon title itself was actually Loaded Why Money Matters. This sermon was the first in a new series from this church on finances, and the full sermon from Pastor Josh ran about 37 minutes. And like most sermons, Josh hits on a number of different things. One of our tasks when we repurpose a sermon into an article is to identify one key part of the message, one specific segment that can stand on its own. So how do we do this? Importantly, we have one person working on the same project every week. I'd recommend you do the same. So for Crosswinds Church, this person is Owen, and Owen's first responsibility each week is to watch through the sermon from Crosswinds, and for the book project specifically, identify that singular portion of the message. Owen did that, and the total length of that segment was roughly 13 minutes. So about a third of the total message, and that's pretty typical for this sort of thing. Owen then wrote a custom title for this portion of the message, Breaking the Cycle of Worry. He clipped that part and turned it into a custom YouTube video with a custom thumbnail, and if you look at these two videos next to each other, thumbnail, title, length, one is clearly optimized for the existing audience of the church, the other for new audiences looking for answers to life's biggest questions. Another thing we'll do on these custom YouTube videos is add an intro that cues up the content, so here's how that sounded.
Worry isn't neutral, it's a form of worship. It grabs your attention, it bends it manipulates your imagination, it screws with our allegiance towards what we think will save us instead of what actually saves us.
So that intro, it's roughly 15 seconds. It's got a music bed that drives the preview. It's got captions on screen. So if someone hovers over the thumbnail without clicking, which is a big part of YouTube culture, we're still sharing the message with them. And then we bring in a lower third introducing Pastor Josh and the church for any first-time viewers. So as you can see, same message, two different outputs. We're maximizing and multiplying the distribution and impact of the message that Pastor Josh wrote once. We don't stop there. So let's get to the blog post. We're working with the same portion of the message, that 13-minute segment. And we've already got the title, Breaking the Cycle of Worry. Importantly, Owen, the person working exclusively with this church, has watched the full message. So he knows, in fullness, what Pastor Josh said during the sermon. So where do we go from here? First, we transcribe these 13 minutes of voice into text. And we have our blog post. No, definitely not. Because reading verbatim a sermon spoken aloud would not be a good experience, of course. But this does give us our source material. It is specific, and we know the direction we're going to take it. That's the heavy lifting already done. At this point, we can use AI in our creative workflow in one of the very few ways I think it excels, reformatting existing source material that we have created from scratch. Totally your call, which tool you use. We've used ChatGPT, Write, Sonic, among others at different points in time. Importantly, never let the AI create the final draft, but use it to reformat and reorganize the thoughts and then reread through it, do your final touch-ups, and you're set. Now, here's what we do. We can publish this blog post on the website, boost our SEO presence. We can send out this blog post on Tuesday or Thursday as our email newsletter. We can also use this resource in pastoral care. You're talking about worry with a person in church. Send them home with this resource specific to your church, not just some article you found online. So again, we're taking this singular sermon and we're repurposing it in a myriad of different ways. And then we just repeat this process once a week, every week, and after a year, we've got the material needed to repackage it into the book. So let's get into those particulars. So we went through a number of different print test runs for these books to find what felt right. When the packages arrived, some of the first versions were soft cover, too glossy, the interior pages didn't feel properly weighted. On the other hand, on the same day, we got another package in the mail, which was our brand new shiny championship belt for our company's fantasy football league throw church tools, custom side plates and all. And yes, I will be defending my title this year. Back to the books. Ultimately, the print company that we settled on was lulu.com. And you can see the specific print settings that we used on the screen here. So how do we distribute these in church? Different churches have taken different approaches. Some sell them at cost. Some give them away. And remember, you always have the digital version that you can distribute freely with zero printing costs. Whatever you decide, though, I had a church ask me a question this week that really made me think. They asked, how does a church do excellent work with limited resources? And for me, the answer is to repurpose as much as you can. Meaning, think about the process that I've outlined in this video. You start with a sermon, the creative and spiritual work that your pastor churns out every single week. Most churches, they might throw up the recording in an archive somewhere, but aside from that, not much. Here, we're multiplying the impact of that message into a blog post, newsletter, pastoral care resource, and ultimately these stunning books. By leveraging work already done, because that sermon's going to get preached no matter what, we can achieve excellence as churches even with limited resources. And that doesn't even begin to mention social content that can be spun out of the message also. If you'd like to work with us and have me and my team do all this work for you, head to socialsermons.com where we make these books for churches. The book project is part of our complete and ultimate plans. We also create custom plans for churches. So if you want to work together exclusively on this book campaign and not the social media side of things, let's say, book a call with me or shoot us a message and we're happy to put that together for you. Importantly, if you use the code 3FREE at checkout, you can get 3 months free on an annual plan, a little special gift for making it to the end of this video. And thanks as always for your time, attention, and trust. From the previous 12 months and package them. That was so good until I said package them. Yo! 52 of these essays and That is amazing. Weekly sermon, right? What? No, that's not. Wow!